So I was at the library yesterday, and this is the book I found. It's really important when you're studying history to go back to primary documents. This is a primary document that describes what actually happened on eyewitness accounts in Wuhan in the early days of the pandemic. I think the timing of finding this book is quite interesting, considering that we are entering the Hanta season. Now, eyewitness accounts are only as good as being backed by the scientific evidence as well as other observations. Now, in early 2020, my daughter was doing a course with a student that had come from Wuhan, China. And so she was telling her various things about what was happening. At no point did I ever believe that this was fake, and I was following quite closely on the Reddit forums what was going on. Since that time, I had been directly affected by this biohazard, and a relative had come over just after he'd had, and I ended up in severe heart failure. My heart function dropped to 15%. I've documented this on my journey of how I've recovered from it. A lot of it I've written on uncensoredwisdom.com, but I've also interviewed experts from around the world on their take, their scientific research, and what we actually know about SARS-CoV-2. Look, one of the first people I interviewed was Professor Francis Boyle. He had a huge warning to the world about what would happen if we did not close the BSL-3, BSL-4 labs across the world. And look, not to stoke fear into anybody, but this has been going on for decades. I also interviewed Professor Garth Nicholson, who has a very interesting story too about bioweapons research going back to the Gulf War. So one of the most disturbing interviews that I actually did was with Dr. Kevin McCann. This is my second interview with him, where we discussed the global allergenic health disaster caused by this thing. I also interviewed Major Tom Haviland, who had done surveys about the blood clotting issue. This is really a big bombshell that literally no one will touch. Now, one of my favourite interviews was with Elizabeth Glass. It's a great interview, go and watch it. Now, this all ties in with all the stuff I've been doing recently, trying to educate people on the importance of the gut and making sure that that is your first line of defence to make sure that your gut is in good health. Now, I just wanted to read a little bit from this book. With bad news from the closed city of Wuhan pouring in, death became the norm, nothing to fret over. Effectively, under house arrest, the citizens of Wuhan scrambled to upload their selfie videos to WeChat and Weibo. As the epidemic was so ferocious, there was no need to worry about police admonishing or arresting anybody. However, the cyber police were still incessantly deleting posts, issuing warnings and closing accounts, so the game of deleting posts and reposting posts was never ending. Moreover, the nimble reposters often got a step ahead, taking a text or video that hadn't yet been deleted over the internet firewall and then bringing it back again. One of these was a 90-year-old man, and then it goes on. So now it's kind of late in the game. If you've been following me for a while, you will understand a lot of things that I've discussed today. If you haven't, then if you want to catch up quickly, you might want to watch the latest video or interview I did with Karli and Andy of Macromedical about how the gut impacts the blood, and from there, how you can actually, by healing the gut, you'll actually heal the blood and heal yourself. I think it's a really, really important video. You combine it with what Elizabeth did with water fasting on her 7-day water fast, and myself, and you can see how no weapon formed against you will prosper. We have actually got the opportunity to heal. Our body wants to heal. In fact, my first interview I did was actually with Dr. Richard Fleming. There he is right there. And the reason why I chose him was because I had his email address, because years ago I had recovered from postpartum cardiomyopathy using his book Stop Inflammation Now, and he'd also written a book called COVID-19, or Is COVID-19 a Bioweapon? So it was a real synergy of ideas, and the fact is that when you put in an idea into place and you follow it through with discipline, and then you get the result from it, it is no longer an idea, it's a reality. So the reality is that your body is designed to heal when you give it the right ingredients and time. But we've been living in a toxic world for so long, and these biohazards have been introduced into the environment, and they've been there also for a very long time, and they've been impacting human health for a very long time. But it seems that we are in a next level of warfare now, and you can either dig your heads in sand, or you can actually do the research. And I've kind of tried to make it easier for you by publishing what I have take it or leave it. I'm not here to go viral or anything, because very, very few people will actually want to take the time to actually learn anything. A lot of it now is driven by algorithms, and they will suppress information as best they can. They will cancel people, cause them to digitally disappear or physically disappear. And so this message is really for those people who really are invested in their health and want to protect themselves and their families.